I'm Pat Smith, team physician with Minnesota. Just here, I'm going to have a little prepared statement. It's going to be brief, and I'd be happy to address some questions if you have them. First of all, I'm in a better mood today. I'm very happy to report that Coach Keel is doing very well. He's alert, eating, not on any IVs. He has undergone extensive testing, both labs and procedures, all of which have been totally normal. His vital signs have at no time been altered. That includes on the field and since that time. These include his pulse, blood pressure, respirations, and heart rhythms. Currently, we're still waiting on a few studies to make a final determination about what the best appropriate medical management will be going forward. I anticipate and expect that he'll have a full recovery, which is uneventful, both now and the future. And after that, I'll take some questions.
So how about the short term, Dr. Smith? What, I mean, like back in a couple of days, hard to say, coaching, or is there anything that?
I think that all of us feel, and as you'd anticipate Coach Keel feeling, he wants to get back in the field. And I think that's going to be the best thing for him. I think the other part of it, you guys that know him, we got a little control of him right now. And we're going to make sure we dotted our I's and crossed our T's before that happens. So once he leaves the hospital, we don't have control of him again. So we're going to make sure in the labs, making sure the medication levels are appropriate, that he's feeling well enough, and then encourage him to get back when he feels well.
How long would you anticipate he remained in the hospital?
You know, I can't give you that answer, absolutely. If I said 6 o'clock and he didn't get out at 8 o'clock, then what's wrong? So I think we're going to make sure that we have all the objective information we need, that once we are satisfied with that, he'll be discharged. Is that tonight? Is that tomorrow morning? That's to be determined.
Over in the final hours, it sounds as though.
It's going to be sooner than later.
You know, most of the time, even people have a severe seizure or whatnot, they're not generally hospitalized for this long. Can you kind of get into the combination of things that you've been looking at over the last couple of days?
I don't know that generalization, other than we look at Coach Keel's history, which is public information, that he has recovered well, lucidly, and I think we have hospitalized him more as a precaution to address those issues that we can't address now and not let this occur in the future. I think one of the things I talked about on Saturday was dehydration, and there was clinical evidence of dehydration on his admission. Shame on us for that happening. And I share that responsibility. That won't happen again. We can easily manage that problem. But I think that we needed to look at his levels of his medication, and those tests take 48 hours. And I'd rather have him monitored in the hospital in that time.
Doctor, you said you've obviously been aware of his past seizures. Going forward now, does this change the way that you'll monitor him going forward once he gets back to work, whether it's on game day, whether it's just with medications and things like that?
Well, I certainly think we want to look at the hydration issue, which we have control of, and also making sure that he's on an appropriate dose of medication and our levels are where they should be.
Can you slow him down?
You know him better than I said. That's hard. That's why he is, I just tell you now, anxious to get back coaching and is looking forward to it.
Will he be on the sidelines on Saturday?
I can't answer that question today. You want a gut feeling?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Somebody going to be assigned to him as far as getting him the proper hydration or making sure that...
I'm going to be his worst enemy. No, we will have measures in place as a protocol, as a training staff and medical staff to address that issue specifically. But that's easily done. That's easily done.
Is this one of those things that once he feels good, once you measure whatever it is you need to measure, he can go right back and resume a normal life, and as long as he's hydrated and whatnot? I mean, is it that quick that you go back to normal?
Mike, I think we all have heard comments of experts that are readily available. But the reality of this disorder is this is a common problem. People live normal lifestyles with this. Most people are, it's unrecognized and people even know they have seizures. So there's medical management with current drugs in today's world that can make people live absolutely normal lives. We have to make sure that we are providing that for him. He's had some issues of recurrence and breakthrough, and we have to address that and make sure we can avoid it.
Is there a name for the disorder that you described?
He has what I would classify, and I think, as a benign idiopathic seizure disorder. That's a mouthful, but essentially he has a seizure disorder.
Hot weather has something to do with it?
Sid, I think if you look historically, and I think both Coach Clay's addressed that at the press conference as well, that they have been with him 17 years or more. And these precipitating events have occurred just in the venue and atmosphere that occurred on Saturday, where it's hot, humid, 3.5 hours into a game. He's an active coach in the sidelines, and those things have been precipitated during that kind of environment. So I think dehydration certainly has a role that we can address.
Right after he went after the official.
I think some of the things are cumulative.
Does stress play a role in some of these sometimes?
I don't know that answer.
Doc, do you think from a broader sense, just someone who's a very high profile, very well respected person, that it might just serve as an educational tool for other people who haven't managed their own or aren't aware of what's out there from a broader perspective?
I would say that if you look at Coach Kill's history with his foundation that he's established, being an advocate for people who are recovering from cancer, he's an absolute advocate for that. He is as well a person that understands you can't script your life. You take things head on and address them, and that's the kind of person he is.
Doc, in terms of some of the terminology, just in reporting in the last 48 hours, people have wanted to use the term epilepsy to connect with this as if someone who suffers multiple seizures suffers from epilepsy. Can you address that just for medical purposes?
I think epilepsy was kind of the connotation that was given in the 19th century to people who had a disorder that they didn't understand. And I think it is more of a old term phrase. I think that now we're looking at issues of why this occurs in a, quote, seizure disorder is kind of the 2011 kind of vocabulary.
Does he have any idea that it was coming on? Can he tell when it's happening?
I can't speak for him, but he does not have this, quote, people talk about an aura or a predetermining thing. I think if you talk to Rebecca, she's obviously lived with him a long time. But no, I think that, no, I don't think that.
Does exercise or physical conditioning, do you put him on any kind of program there? Does that help or anything?
We certainly don't restrict anything. He absolutely will have no restrictions whatsoever.
Is the better shape you're in, the less, does that alleviate your chances or not necessarily?
Yeah, I mean, a healthy lifestyle is always good, Mike. And Coach Kill is he had none in bad habits.
How has he spent the last day and a half? Has he had any football-related activity at all?
He's as I said, alert, oriented, and doing fine.
Who were you playing? They were running with cold packs or hot packs, or they were kept on running with stuff to where you were treating them?
That's just part of the early management, Sid. It was nothing unusual. And as I told you, he at no time was under any risk at all on the sidelines. This event was difficult to watch, but he at no time was any risk at all. This was not a cardiac event. This was not any type of catastrophic event. It was a straightforward seizure.
Leading up to the situation, that he was taking care of himself as far as taking his medication when he was supposed to and hydrating himself?
To my knowledge, yes.
You've got control over him when he's in the hospital. You said that.
Mm-hmm.
So how does he feel? Is he saying, I'm ready to go, or what is he saying to you?
As I said, I think he's very anxious to come back and be coach at Minnesota.
Okay. One more? No?
Is exhaustion Does that help precipitate it at all?
I don't think there's objective data to support that, but it would seem that stress, dehydration, fatigue can play a role in that.
Thanks, guys.